Alright guys, welcome to your 51st and last tutorial of this mini-series. So basically what we did right now is we built some functions that allowed us to enter two little pieces of information, and whenever we click the save button, it's going to go ahead and save those to a variable. However, I could say, oh yeah, just trust me, whenever you click the save button, it's going to save it to a variable. It's also going to put $1 million in your bank account and cure, whatever disease you might have. But you aren't going to believe me unless I can prove it to you guys. So the truth is, it's not going to give you $1 million or do anything like that, but it is going to save a variable. So how am I going to prove this to you guys? Well, I'm going to display the information of that variable right here. So what we want to do right after we save the variable is, and typically you wouldn't just, save a variable and display the information right to them, or else that would be kind of worthless. You wouldn't even need, session storage for that. But just for this example, it's the only way that I can prove it to you guys. So now what I want to do is display the information in one. So what this is going to do is basically show you the information in the right hand side right here. So this is a function that we actually need to code, but it only takes about 3 lines, I'm guessing. So function, and it's called display. We can just go ahead and copy this stuff right here. It's called display, and it takes a parameter of what the parameter is, basically the name of your variable. So in this case, it's just 1. So the very first line, we need to basically reference this blue box right here. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and make a variable called right box, and I'm going to go ahead and cheat a little bit here. Document, make sure I get my equal signs, document get element by ID. Now the ID of this right box was right box. So now basically this right box right here symbolizes this blue box on our screen. Now after this, what I want to do is I want to retrieve the data from that variable. So right here I said, okay, what this line of code does is it saves a variable on the computer. Well, now that we have some information saved, I want to tell you guys how to access that information. So for variable, I'm just going to go ahead and name this 2, right like that. What I want to do is hit session storage, and remember, session storage is basically the class that is built in that allows us to save and retrieve variables. So whenever we needed to set a variable, we use the method setItem. Whenever we want to retrieve a variable, we need to use the function getItem. Now getItem only takes one parameter, and it's basically what is the name of your item. Well, we passed it in the name right here, which was 1. Now basically we're passing it in the name of person. Person is the name of our variable, or item as they might call it. I just noticed that I use the terms like function and method interchangeably. I also use the term item and variable interchangeably, but I don't want to confuse you guys. Whenever I say item or variable, it's basically the same thing. It's basically data that you can store that has a value. So basically our item or variable is named person, so that is what we're passing in right here. So now we're saying, okay, get the value of it and store it in the variable called 2. So the value of person is Bucky. So now whenever we use the variable 2, it should write Bucky. So now what I want to do is just output this in my right hand side of the screen right here in my right box. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit right box, enter HTML. This basically means whatever's inside here, replace it with whatever I type in here. Now for the inner HTML, let me just go ahead and write something like name of variable, and I'm just going to go ahead and make this equal to 1, because remember, the name of your variable is basically person. So whenever we save this, it should say the name of your variable is person. And whenever you want to append a string in JavaScript, you need to use these 2 little plus signs. If you don't know what this is, then go ahead and watch my JavaScript tutorials. So now what I want to do is on the next line, in order to move down to the next line, I'm just going to add a break, and I'm just going to write value, and that's probably good enough. The value is, and I'm just going to go ahead and append the variable 2. So remember, like I said, 1 is basically the name of the item, and 2 is basically we retrieved the value of the item. So let me go ahead and save this and make sure this works. So let me go ahead and refresh this beast. Person has a value of Bucky. Now let's go ahead and save it. The name of the variable is person and the value is Bucky. This could also write the name of the item is person and its value is Bucky. So let's go ahead and make another one. Person Ashley. So whenever we store, I want to mention this, just like JavaScript, whenever we try to store something else, it pretty much overwrites this person. So it says, okay, you already have a variable called person, but now you're setting it equal to a different value. So whenever we do that, it pretty much overwrites it and gives it a new value. So this pretty much works the exact same as JavaScript, except it's just a little bit different. It's for websites instead. So what I'm going to be doing is, I know this is kind of confusing, and even though we can just save everything in variables, these variables right here, they can't be saved as you go from website to website to website, or excuse me, web page to web page. As soon as you go to a different web page, these variables right here are going to get destroyed. So that is why we need to use this web storage API. It gives us the ability to do some cool things aside from just storing variables from web page to web page. It lets us do some other cool things too, which I'm going to be talking about in the upcoming tutorials. But anyways, like I said, I know all of this is really confusing, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking all of this code and I'm going to be putting it on my forum, tnbforum.com, and if you want it, just go ahead and copy it and just play with it a little bit. And once you guys play with it for just a little bit, you're going to see how it works, why it works, and it's going to make sense to you guys, I promise. So for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I need to go get a drink of apple juice or something. Anyways, I'm going to go get a drink, and I will see you guys in the next lesson.